Hi everybody, it's great to see you through Facebook again. It's been a while. I'm here to do the August forecast. Some of you may know about Lionsgate, which was yesterday, the whole idea of it's the best time to manifest things. And I've pulled 6 cards from the Shamanic Oracle deck. Here, I'll give you the cover of it. I love this deck. It's so beautifully packaged. So I've pulled 6 cards, and the first 3 are the aspects of this month, and the other 3 are the actions to take with those aspects. So we have the Seer card, except it was reversed. And it's basically saying it's time to overcome any illusions. It's a wake-up call. Look at the things you've been in denial about. It's time to address those things. And the wind card, which shows up south, so it's the south wind in this particular spread, is about looking at any old habits that you need to overcome. There's a lot of, with this spread, a lot of get out of the old way of doing things. So with this, you want to look at where have you been in denial, where have you kind of gotten stuck in your ideas about things, and what do you really need to wake up to and deal with. I think if anything this year, there's been a lot of us having time to reconsider the things we do, to look at how we're doing things, and just to come to a place of, it's like an internal house cleaning, where you're really looking at what's working for you, what's not, and finally taking action. So if you've been mulling something, this is the time to get serious about it and go, okay, it's time I did something about this. It's time I took this seriously. So the next card in terms of the ideas we're looking at, we have the Ghost Dance, again reversed. It's interesting because all of the aspects in this spread are reversed. So it's a real wake-up call to say, hey, these are all areas of resistance, and these are all things that you now need to deal with. So get on it. With this card, it can be outmoded relationships or any kind of habit, anything where you've been hanging on to it for nostalgic reasons. Sometimes we don't really want to say goodbye to somebody or a particular habit or way of doing things in our lives because it's uncomfortable. And we don't know where it will take us when we let go of what's familiar. And that's where the next card comes in. We get the Corn, and the Corn, again, reversed. And it's about lack-based thinking when it's in the reverse setup. So it's saying, are you hanging on to certain relationships in your life? Are you hanging on to certain things because letting go means, oh, I might have to deal with my fear of lack or my fear of stepping into the unknown. What if I lose out by taking this action? I would counter that with, what are you losing by hanging on? You know, sometimes when we have somebody in our life, and I'm not just talking about love relationships, it could be a friendship, it could be a job, a situation where we're afraid to leave. By hanging on, nothing new can step into that space because that dissatisfying situation or personal relationship or professional relationship is taking up the space that somebody more reflective of the direction you're moving could occupy if you cleared that space. So that's why it's so important when you know you need to make that change. Yes, it means letting go. Yes, it means stepping into the unknown. Yes, it means facing your insecurities and your fears. But if we don't do that, nothing ever changes in our lives. So it's saying, yeah, it's really time to do this. There's so much, like I said, housekeeping going on here. Moving through things and moving things out of your life that are taking the space and energy that's actually keeping you from activating the Lionsgate and creating new change in your life. So it's really time to look at, where am I spending energy? What activities? Who am I spending my energy on? And is it keeping me in an old unproductive cycle? And that's where the first card, the, looking at the hard truth of things, like, are these things I'm doing actually building something in my life? Or are they anesthetizing me from the discomfort of realizing there's things that need to change? Okay. And the last of the cards that are the actions that we're taking, or not the actions, the items that we're looking at this time, we have standstill. And again, it was reversed. And when it's reversed, it's talking about analysis paralysis. So it's, again, when we know we need to shift on something and we overthink it to death. I remember reading a book recently that talked about just do one thing. If you've got a big project in mind, sometimes you just have to do the one thing to get started on it. Don't worry about the 10th step. Don't worry about the outcome. Just start moving on it. Take some action every day. But the standstill card also says it's okay if a project's just, maybe you've had it in the works for a long time and it hasn't really been moving. Sometimes we need to abort it. Sometimes an idea we had, which made sense at the time, as you've shifted and grown, is no longer reflective of the direction you're moving. It's okay to shift gears and do something else, or rework a project. If you're sitting on something, you've been sitting on it for a long time, and there's no movement, it may be that the way you're meant to create it is going to look different. So be willing to say, why am I so stuck on this? What needs to shift? How do I need to look at this differently for this to move? And sometimes it does mean just saying, my energy's not going there, and that's okay. Where does it need to go? And with this card, we actually had the upright version of this card. And because I've been going through all my cards, I'm just going to double check that I know the meaning of this one. Ah, yes, the curse. So the curse, isn't that a gorgeous card? The curse is about looking at ancestral beliefs, habits and beliefs you may have acquired through family. So sometimes it's a project we want to get moving on and we have built into us, I can't be successful. Nobody would want what I'm offering. And those ideas get in our way. I always say, get started on that thing you want to do, build it, and realize it doesn't have to be perfection incarnate for you to put it out into the world. In fact, there's a lot of times people will put something out there and offer it as a trial at a reduced rate in order to get feedback and testimonials from the first group who take it, and then they improve on it. And some people will say offer an online course, and every time they offer the course, they will modify as they get feedback from each group that takes it. So there's always something fresh, there's always something new, there's always something responsive to the people taking it. And I think that's such an important thing, because I know for myself, I've taken programs where the people running it were so afraid of being wrong that if you said, hey, I see a problem here, there's something that's not working, they will try to intimidate their client and silence them rather than go, thank you, we need to look at that, we need to see how we can respond to that. So there's, in these cards today, there's a certain humility that's required of us. Where am I hanging on to old ideas that aren't serving me because I'm afraid to step into the unknown? And let the universe take you somewhere new. If something's not working, be willing to let go and be willing to say, I don't know the next step. But if you start to clear away what you know isn't working or is stagnant, the energy for the next step and the realizations of what that step will be can materialize. So just bear that in mind, that a lot of what we're looking at this month, and I feel that what we're doing is laying the groundwork for the fall. The kids go back to school, the summer is done, and we start to get internal again. We start to look at what projects am I going to really start applying myself to now that, I've moved out of summertime. what can I really focus on here? So really look at every area of your life where you have been holding on to something old that's not serving. There's no energy to make something new occur. And so what can you let go of? What can you now say, I'm no longer applying my energy there, my thoughts there, my actions there. I'm going to apply them now in the direction that I sense it needs to go, but I'm going to be willing to go into the unknown. And that means being receptive. I'll often say, we grasp for knowledge, we receive wisdom. So the ego mind is trying to hunt for information, usually because it wants to control the scenario. And that's often where we get confused, because when we're hunting for that information, we're not listening to our intuition. But instead, when we listen to our intuition, we are asking a question and we're just staying open to the answer coming. It might come through a dream, it might come through a snatch of conversation you hear as you pass somebody, a book that you notice and you open it and there's a little tidbit of information for you. It may come as just that aha of, oh yes, now I know the next step. But what I often find is that information may be preceded by a period of feeling just kind of lost. And we don't like that. We want answers. We want to know who we are and what we're doing all the time. And that often means that we don't incubate. We don't create a space where we're no longer doing the things that aren't serving us. We're not being that gerbil on the wheel. And we're just allowing for, okay, now that I've cleared that opening, what is the next step? How does this need to come about? If you've been banging your head against the wall, trying to get a project going that's just not taking off, asking, how is this supposed to look? How is this meant to come about? How am I meant to serve? It's a different way of doing things, and it's about putting the information, not the information, but putting the question out into that limbic space, and then just allowing for the answer to come. And that means you can't pull for it. You can't demand a McVision. It means you just have to sit, and it's going to be emotional. It's not going to, you may get ideas, but there's always an emotional component when it comes from the intuition. There's a sense of rightness, like, yep, this feels right. It will tend not to be elated, because that's not balanced energy. And it won't be critical either. It'll just be, yep, that feels right. And it takes practice sometimes to learn how to get clear on what that feeling is for you, how you feel it in your body, where you feel it, that says you're on track. But that's the idea of what you want to start to move toward. Where are things stuck? Where are things in resistance? Sometimes we have to move through resistance and get out the other side. So what old ideas are we hanging on to, or that we need to challenge, such as our lack thinking, so that we can start to move in a new direction? So that's what's coming up for August. If you guys have any questions, pop them on now, and I will do my best to answer them. I do appreciate you popping in today, and I hope that you're having an amazing month and you're getting some time. We're here in BC with a lot of fires, but we're starting to get some blue skies again. I hope you've had some time to go out and get some fresh air and enjoy those blue skies. I'm just going to give a little bit more time if anybody wants to ask a question. Thank you so much, guys, for popping in here. I see Karen and Kathy, and Mike has been in here as well. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, I'm popping out pretty shortly because I have another call. But this is an opportunity, if you have a quick question, just to pop it on the screen. I've got a few more minutes. And I am going to be out of town for the next few weeks, but I will be taking clients by Zoom in the evenings. So if you are looking for a session, go onto my website, spiritkelowna.com. You can go right on there and book a session. So I always make sure, even when I'm traveling, that I still have time to connect with people and do some work. But, oh, you're welcome, Kathy. Thanks for popping in. But I'm going to finally get to see my grandchild, so this has been something I've been waiting for a year. So I'm pretty excited about that. Been playing it very, very safe. Going to be playing it safe going there and coming home. And, you know, we can live through COVID. We just have to be careful. So mask up, vax up, do the things you got to do, and enjoy your life. It's just enjoying it with more mindfulness. This is how I look at it. Everything we do now is about mindfulness. And this month, it's very much mindful about internally. What's holding me back? What have I been hanging on to? What do I clear space for now? So if you've done Marie Kondo to your home, now it's like Marie Kondo on yourself. Well, thanks guys for showing up. Have a fabulous rest of the month, and I will see you again next month. Bye for now.